Hey, what's up YouTube? We're finally back with the Trailblazer, and we were just waiting for the subwoofer box to get done. We got it done by CS Customs. This is his plaque with the info. Oh, and this is just the amp that we're gonna be running. So I think it's tuned to like 34 hertz if I'm not mistaken. But basically it's for 212s. There's one, there's another one right there. And we asked them not to drill the holes for the terminals just yet because we still have some work to do on here. This is just the ground that we're gonna run through this grommet and go down to the chassis. Ignore this for now. So we kind of came up with the idea that we wanted a box that would hide everything within it. So as you can see, the back wall is here, and then we still have some more space back here. And once it's all said and done, we're gonna just push it all the way to the back. It should be as close as possible to that back seat. So I'm gonna show you the inside. So this is basically what it's gonna look like. We have our power and ground coming from the battery. One of the grounds going to the chassis. The other ground's coming from the battery. The bass knob, cables, speaker wire, RCAs and remotes are coming from the other side. So this is exactly what we wanted, just like a little cubby hole back here, so we could have all our amps and everything back here, and for it not to show. So the battery's gonna go here. Then we're gonna have either the 4-channel or the Epic Center on either side, and then this big amplifier is gonna go against the wood right here, against the box. So we're going to get this out of the blazer, and we're gonna put it up on a little metal cart so we can work on it. We already got some threaded inserts I'm about to show you guys, so we can mount everything. And yeah, once everything is bolted up, we'll take it back out and then bring it over to the car and reassemble it here. All right, so we got the box in here, and we got ahead of ourselves and we started mocking everything up, measuring and putting it wherever we wanted. So this is what we came up with. The Epic Center is gonna go around there. We already marked the holes on the wood, so everything is ready to be drilled out. So this is the plan for the setup. The Epic Center on the left side, the 4-channel here, and then the SCAR amp is gonna go up against the box right about there. There, and we're gonna leave this space right here just in case we want to add a second 4-channel to it. It'll fit right here. So we already marked the holes for the amp, for the same amp, because we would go with the same amp if we had another one. So that's this, and then the fuse holder is gonna go against the wall somewhere around here. I might line it up with this just so it look clean. Just tuck it in a little bit so the wire should come out and go down here. Route everything through here except for the one that's gonna go to the big SCAR amp. This wood back here, we're using it to line up the amps. And we're gonna drill out the holes for these inserts, and we got 2 in already. So let me drill out 2 more, and then I'll show you how we're gonna mount this stuff. Oh, and we're also gonna order the rubber washers to space out the amps from the wood, just so the vibration could be a little bit less than if we just mount it straight to the wood. So let me get to that drilling real quick, and then I'll put you guys back on. Okay, so we got the holes drilled out and the nut inserts in, and we ordered these screws a little bit longer so we could have space to mount the rubber washers. So we're thinking of going with 1/8 thick rubber washers for now. And everything was ordered on eBay because honestly I think it's cheaper than, way cheaper than Home Depot. Okay, so we got these amps bolted up already. So this is what it's gonna look like once it's done. I didn't put the ones back there because I put this one up first for this. So there's gonna be some spaces back here, and basically our measurements were done. So you know there could be space back here, and in between them there's like about an inch between the wall and this and the epic center and the amp. And also there's enough space right here to remove the RCAs if we need to. But all this has to be messed with before we actually screw it into the box. So the inserts are in here and it's ready to go. There's 3 holding it in, and there's 3 on this side as well. So now all I have to do, oh, and we also drilled out these holes. We didn't put the inserts and we didn't put anything else in there because I wanted to put the holes in just so I can know where they're at. And now we're gonna mount the fuse holder. So it's gonna go something like this, like right about there. And since we don't have the batteries yet, I found this box that is almost the exact same size of the batteries. So it's only an inch shorter. So from wherever we put this screw for the other 4 channel, we're going to, well, we're basically gonna move the battery about 1/2 inch off of the wood right here, and possibly 1/2 inch forward, just like I have a 1/2 inch gap all around. And then we're going to mount the fuse holder right about there, maybe like about a couple of inches higher. So the positive cable that's coming from the front of the front battery is gonna go up here. We're gonna route it through here. We're gonna go into this first fuse right here, and then all the leads from the battery are gonna go on this side. So there's gonna be 4 leads going in, and there's gonna be 3 leads coming out because we only have, actually there's gonna be, so 4 leads going in and 3 leads that we're gonna have be using. The one from the front battery to the back, which is gonna be in the first one, and then the second one we're gonna go to the Alpine amp, and then the third one we're gonna go to the Scar, just so it could be a short run. And then all the grounds we're gonna run them to the ground side of the excess battery. We are gonna get 2 D3400s, and there's, so that's why we got the 6 post. There's gonna be, I think, 2 that aren't gonna be used on each post, but it's better to have them and not use them than to need them and not have them. But that's that. And then we have to find a way to make some brackets for the batteries. But for now, let's just focus on mounting this fuse holder. Okay, so we just finished vacuuming everything, but this is where the fuse holder is gonna go. We just need to get longer screws because these barely come through. Then after that, we're gonna install the battery and make like some type of bracket or something to hold it in place. And yeah, so we put it right above the battery, so the battery should be like right around here, and I think it stops like around here. So the power cable is gonna come up right along the battery, go straight up, and then bolt up to the first one right here. All right, so up here we did mess up some of the holes because of the inserts. They were too close to the edge, so it just broke a hole through. And so what I'm gonna do right now, I had it centered, but since we drilled out some of the holes, we're going to draw a line, you know, where the subwoofer sits, and then we're going to try to cock it like half an inch to an inch so we can have new holes for the screws. We're not gonna use the inserts no more, we're gonna use the screws. So we have to cock it, but we kind of want to get it centered from that circle. So the best way to do it, I believe, is draw the line so we know that we're centered, and then just cock it a little bit and drill the new holes. So we're gonna pre-drill and then we're gonna insert the actual screws. Alright, so we pre-drilled all the holes, but they are pretty close to the edge. Hopefully it doesn't split or anything. But this is what happened when we did the inserts. And also right here kind of started splitting, and this one also went all the way through. Now before we drop in the subwoofer, we do have to drill the holes for the terminal. We're gonna run two 5/16 bolts through the box, and we're gonna run them all the way through. So I just have to figure out exactly where to drill and make tightest connection. We just want both bolts here and the other two as close as possible. So it's gonna be like 4 bolts, and then go straight into this. We are running 8 gauge lugs, terminals, and ferrules for this side. Let me figure this out so then we can wire one sub and drop it in and show you guys what we're gonna do with that, and then I'll just do the second subwoofer off camera. Okay, so we're done drilling out the holes for the speaker terminals, and this is what we're gonna go with, some lugs, but I think I used a hammer crimp on this. It's just to test it out, and it's gonna go like this, positive and ground. And then on this side, it's gonna be a little bit tighter because of the amp. It's gonna have enough space to run this way, connect right here. Then these two are gonna connect in the bottom terminal. So I'm gonna run to the hardware store real quick and pick up some 5/16 bolts and washers and nuts. And they just have to be, well, I'm not gonna get them super long. So it's about an inch. Let me get them like an inch and 1/4 to an inch and a half, just so I can get all the way through. And yeah, so let me do that real quick. Once I have that done, we'll do the terminals and have it ready, so when we drop in the sub, we can connect everything and just drop it in. All right, so we got the screws for the fuse holder. We went with 1-inch screws, and it's holding up pretty good. It actually went in like about, I think, 1/4 into the insert. And these are the bolts that we're gonna be using for the speaker terminals. So it's gonna go something like this, like that. It's gonna be a positive or negative, positive or negative, and if it's pretty good. So what we're gonna do is we're going to, let me set it up for you guys real quick. From the inside of the box, it's gonna be like this. So it's gonna be a lug into the bolt. Then we're going to use a washer. Then it's gonna go through the bolt hole. And then on this side, we're gonna have another washer. And then this bolt, squeezing it all together. And then we're gonna have the wire coming from the amp to the bolt, which is gonna go in. And then from there, we're gonna have this lock washer, and then we're gonna have this bolt like that. So Let me get these lugs crimped onto the speaker wire, and then we'll set it all up and I'll show you how it's gonna look. By the way, this wood chip right here, pretty good. But I mean, it's gonna be on the back side of the seat, so not like it's gonna show a whole lot. But anyways, I'll put you guys back on in a bit. All right, so this is what we're gonna use for the inside of the box. We just did the hammer crimp on them. So this is gonna go on the inside of the box, ground and positive. We just received this in the mail. And this is gonna be the distribution block for the remote. So we won't have to daisy chain them. So I guess one lead is gonna go into this spot. This was like 12 bucks. The SMD one is like 40, and I think this one's a little more compact. It is taller, but it's more narrow. So I guess one lead is gonna go into this spot. All our other remotes to the other spots. And later on down the line, if we don't like how this one looks, we'll just go with the SMD. But it doesn't look that bad, to be honest. At least for 12 bucks, it doesn't look that bad. One of the nicest ones we found, actually. And that one is gonna go here. It's gonna go either this way or that way. Possibly like this, and then we could just run the remote this way and all the leads going that way. Or yeah, maybe that one. Because if we do it like this, we would have to... Oh, it's not that bad. I don't know, whatever looks better. I think this one's gonna be a little bit nicer like that, because the RCAs are all gonna have space right here to be serviced. And like this, you're gonna be kind of, well, we would be kind of tight. I think like this is nice. So I'm gonna mount this real quick. I don't know if we're gonna be able to use the inserts. And there's also a mess on the box right now, so if we can't use the insert, we'll just use the wood screws that it came with. It came with 2 wood screws. But let me see. Yeah, it's a little bit tight. We might be able to use the inserts. Just put it here. So let me get you guys out of the way, because the tripod is right in front of me, and then we'll mount that, and then we will be removing everything since all the wires are where they should be, and we know that everything's gonna be mounted this way. We'll just remove all the wires, throw the box in the blazer. Oh well, we actually have to work on one more ground on the blazer to the chassis, and then we'll be able to throw in the subwoofer box. We're also gonna have to mount 2 plastic panels before the box slides in, because we don't know if we have enough space after the box is in to mount those plastic panels. So first off, let me do the remote distribution block, then remove everything from the box, then work on the ground. Once we work on the ground, I'll put you guys back on. All right, so here on the passenger side, this is where the valve, the air valve for the airbags and compressor and all that was at. So this is where our air shock is going to be, same spot. The switch, we're going to leave it in there just in case we do end up putting the compressor back on. And there was a line hose that came through that grommet. I guess the breather hose for the compressor or something. So we removed that since the compressor is not in there, and we just cut a slot on the grommet so it could fit this 0 gauge through. And this is our ground to the chassis for the back. So it runs from all the way from the rear driver side all the way to this, and then it's gonna go down into through the blazer into the chassis. So we have to get that done. So I'm gonna have to feed this through, kind of like, you know, guess where these lines are gonna sit, and then tape this up tuck it away and put the plastic on it. So let me get you guys out of the way for all that, because I'm gonna be in the way a lot, and then we'll put you guys back on. All right, so this is the last clip before the box goes in. We put the plastic panel back on. So the switch is still there, and the air valve is right there for the air shocks. Depending on how low the truck sits after everything, we're gonna air it up. And then on this side, we have the panel in as well. And all the cables are just sitting here. This is for the headliner. So we are gonna get a new headliner because we messed up the first one. But for now, we're just gonna throw in the box and get it in its place, and then we'll start wiring. All right, so we're gonna install the epic center first, and the RCs are super long, so whenever we get this whole thing going, we will be cutting them a little shorter. All right, so we were gonna do the subs first before all the amps and stuff, but we haven't received the rubber spacers in the mail. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just start routing all the cables, having them plugged in, and then when the washers come, we'll just set them in and bolt everything down completely. All right, so for the speaker wire, we're using these ferrules to run them into the amp. So they go in like that. And then this tool came with the kit. This makes a neater installation. So we're gonna have these at every speaker input. So that's one. There's another one. So we just got these in the mail today, and I was messing around with one of the screws, and it fits pretty good. So it's like a 1/4 inside diameter. So that's how it's gonna go. Well, the bolt's gonna go, the screw's gonna go through the epic center, and then we're gonna put the rubber between the wood and the epic center. All right, so this is what we have done so far, and I had to cut you guys off because it was kind of tight in here with the camera, with the tripod, and I had to kind of like get back here to align the washers and all. So for the 4-channel, we doubled up on the washers just because these stupid inputs are kind of at an angle. I don't know if you guys can see. So we use the ferrules and the heat shrink to make it look a little nicer. We use ferrules on the speaker cables, so that kind of put us too close to this piece of wood. So with this, we could at least kind of, make it look a little nicer. So we just received the copper lugs for the 8 gauge because we ran out, and these are going to be the cables which connect the box terminal. We're going to run some bolts, these bolts. And what we decided to do, since it was a tight fit for 2 8 gauge cables to run through the speaker, we decided to just run each coil to the terminal, which is the same thing, and we put these on the end, these what is it called, these ferrules. So got this kit off of Amazon. It's like 25 bucks, 30 bucks. Just got some heat shrink. So we're gonna run I have to see the other side of the box again, but the blue we're running as positive, the blacks are gonna be ground. So we did 2 with the blues on one side, so these can line up, and then the other 2 have the black on the inside or the outside, depending on what side we put it on. So I'm gonna run the bolts through these holes right here, and then we will hopefully drop in the subwoofers. We mounted this sub already, and the only Difficult part was getting the wires in. I'll show you guys in a bit, but we couldn't mount the sub with the wires facing inward towards the sub. So what we had to do is come in from the back. And it was kind of like a tight fit, but that won't work, so this one should work as well. And before we decided to use screws, we're going to use the insert, the threaded inserts, but this got damaged and that got damaged, so we just pre-drilled holes for the wood screws. These are the ones that we're using, size 8, and they're 1.5. So I'm about to get the sub up here and connect the wires, and I'll show you guys before I drop it in. This is what I'm talking about. If we put the cables in through here, since they're sticking out on both sides, it wouldn't go in. We have to do them through the back to keep the clearance. Okay, so the subs are mounted in place, and we're gonna start working on the rear battery. So this is the one that we're gonna use from Ale Customs. This is the ground side. And what we noticed yesterday when we got the batteries, we got these washers that come with it, with some lock washers, but it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of just seems like it's about to fall through. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use some extra washers that we had, and that kind of just gives it a little extra right there, makes it a little bit, I don't know if safer is the right word, but kind of reduces that inside hole. So we're just gonna install one of these on each side. Oh, and last night we also did this. So this is for the 4-channel. This is for the ground from the front battery. This is for the ground, the one that's going to the chassis. So it's all gonna go on here. And what else? Yeah, so this is what we got going on so far. A little shot during the day, just so you guys can get a better view of what's going on. Put ferrules on all these speaker connectors, as well as the power and ground. We also have to do a ground from here to there. I don't know if we're gonna run it straight across for a shorter connection, or if we're gonna route it along these cables, which would make it look nicer, but it's just a bigger run, because power is gonna go straight up here, so the ground would have to go down here and up here. If we have enough cable, we might just do that, just so it could look a little neater. And this is the voltmeter, so it's gonna go straight into that. And for the remote distribution block, we were thinking of putting it on that side, but I think we changed our mind, and we're gonna either put it here or right underneath this. This might be a tight fit though, just in case we do end up getting another 4-channel, so we're not sure about that one. All right, so before we get to installing the batteries, we will be making this last connection right here. This is where the ground comes out. It's behind the passenger side, all the way in the back where the compressor used to sit. The compressor was here, but we removed that, so we're gonna cut this a little longer than what it should be, just so we can have enough room in case we want to run the compressor later on. So I'm thinking I'm gonna cut it around there. Actually cut it a little longer, because the other way is gonna be tucked away. So I'm gonna cut it right here, put a lug, and then we'll probably use this for now. Actually, you know what? Oh shit. Then we're gonna have to use this, but we're going to put this what is it? Yeah, we're gonna have to remove this, slide it in there, and then make the connection, just so it could be straight on the chassis. So let me get to cutting and making this real quick, and then put your guys back on. Okay, so we got the connection all done. We put some marine heat shrink on this. The marine has that little like glue inside, so when it shrinks, it comes out, and it's supposed to protect it a little bit more than regular heat shrink. And actually we were thinking of just putting this ground here onto this part of the chassis, just because it's out of the way of everything. In case we do decide to put the compressor back in, it'll just be out of the way. And it's easier to put a nut and a bolt through here than it is to put it on here, because there is no way to get back here into the chassis unless we slide our hand all the way from the back. But we would have to, yeah, we'd have to remove the bumper or something. So I mean, this is the same thing. This is part of the chassis. We'll be sanding this down all the way to bare metal. Okay, so it's kind of dark, but you can see the ground is there. We sanded the paint off of the chassis, and then we put a light coat of anti-seize. Then we put the lug, a washer, and bolt. Put another washer and one of these nuts with the nylon on it so it won't back off. And that basically, that's our last ground that we had to do for the back, which goes straight to the chassis. So now we're going to install the battery on the inside. Okay, so far this is what we've done. We just haven't been recording. Same thing, I keep repeating. It's just tight in here, so we threw the secondary battery in here. The first one's already installed, as you guys seen in the previous video. So basically we ran ground from the front battery all the way to the back, ground to the chassis, and then this ground is for the amp, and this ground is for the other amp. So we have these 6 post things up here, and then there's going to be power to the front battery, power to the 4-channel amp, and power to this big ass amp right here. So this works pretty good. We still have 1 spot available just in case we do end up getting the 4-channel. And then we did all the connections for the subwoofer. We mounted the remote distribution block right here. We could have daisy chained it, but we just thought that this would be a little bit better. And it's out of the way, so all the accessories are going to go up to the 6-post distribution block. The main one's going to come in the last post right here, and then we're going to just run all of our other stuff into the, you know, the next screw and stuff. So the 4-channel is going to be the second one. No, actually the epic center is going to be the second one, the 4-channel the third one, and the scar amp is going to be the 4th one. We have the 5th one for the other amp, and we have the 6th screw for the fans if we decide to go with the fans, which we forgot to drill out the holes, but that's fine. We'll just, I guess, have to deal with that when we get to that point. So for now, let me run this remote up to here, and then we'll probably do maybe the epic center, maybe the big scar amp. So let me get to that real quick, and I'll put you guys back on in a bit. All right, so we're finally done with all the wires except these power and ground for the epic center, and this is the distribution block for the remote. So what we're gonna do right now is throw the fuses on them. We just want to test it before we do the power and ground for the epic center. Okay, so we're gonna remove all the power cables out of the way, and we're gonna do one by one. So these don't really have to come off. Then we have enough space right here. Just gonna go like this. And we're gonna put a washer. We're gonna put the lock washer. Alright. And then on the left side, we're gonna put, for the first spot, it's gonna be the one that's coming from the front battery. And that, the other washer. Okay, and for the second one, that's the 4-channel. That one's gonna take a 150. And then And for the last one, that's for the SCAR amp. So that's gonna take a 300 as well. We're gonna do washer, and we're gonna do lock washer. There's a reason basically why we did it like this. Once we got the A&L fuse holder, we noticed that this side is basically like a distribution block, I guess you could say. If you just run 1/0 gauge, you could power a couple of your items off of this side, because as you can see, this is all connected together. And then on this top side, there's nothing connecting each post. So what we did is we ran all the ones from the battery to this side of the A&L fuse holder, and each one of our accessories, we ran it from the individual side. So now we're gonna turn this on, and hopefully it all works. So I'm gonna mute it for you guys because of, you know, the music stuff and all that on YouTube. But you can see that the Epic Center is on, the Alpine is on. I don't know if this car is on. So what we're gonna do is go pick up a DD1 so we could tune everything and get it to the point where, you know, distortion and all that, and then we'll bolt everything back up for the last time, and all the wires are gonna be zip tied. But this is basically it, and that's how it's gonna look, except these. I just didn't want to permanently put these on yet because we have to zip tie all this together, and as you can see, these zip ties aren't, you know, completely tight. So what we're gonna do is get to work on that as soon as we tune everything, because either way we have to remove that to get to the little knobs in the back of the 4-channel. And we just wanted to show you guys that, you know, that the subs are actually working. So make sure to stay tuned for the next couple of videos. We might record tuning it, we might not, I'm not sure yet. But thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at @youngkid_OXC films. I'll leave that in the description down below, and we'll catch you in the next one.